Sam. You win the Good Suit Award. That looks good. Huh? You win the Good Suit Award. That looks good.
How you doing? I'm good.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing. Everybody here. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing. Testing 1, 2, 3. If I can get everybody to come up on the podium up here for me, please. Everybody up here on the podium for me, please. Let me get everybody up here for me, please.
That's our shot. Creative, you and I will be all right.
Let's get started here. Oh, well, it's great.
Back to Mike up away.
I've forgotten what it was like to share the podium with Mike.
You're about to get reminded.
Yeah, I know. Well then, let's get it straight. Okay. And, today, I'm announcing my candidacy for the office of mayor of the great city of Jackson. Kathy and I thank all of you for joining us here at Smith Robinson Museum and Cultural Center. You know, we chose this venue because the story of Smith Robinson, the story of the institution named for him, really reflects the story of Jackson, our city. Smith Robinson was among the first African Americans to have the chance to ask America to redeem her promise. He was born a slave in Alabama, migrated to Jackson, built a successful business, became a community leader, and eventually was elected the first African American on the city's Board of Aldermen. This institution that we stand in front of is named after him. It opened its doors in 1894 as the city's first public school for African Americans. It closed as a school in 1971. It fell into a state of disrepair and was threatened with demolition. But now it stands as a vessel of understanding, dedicated to the legacy of the African American experience, completely refurbished. The story of our city, similar to Smith Robinson Smith Robinson the person and Smith Robinson the facility, is a story of strength and perseverance, of overcoming great obstacles, not all at once and not necessarily without detours, without delays, or even retreat. And most importantly, it's a story whose end is yet to be written. The march of progress is rarely swift or straight, but the march of progress is steady. When our faith is strong, when our will is strong, and when we are determined, we will not be turned around. I'm so grateful that the citizens of Jackson have allowed me to help write our city story, which includes the transformation of Smith Robinson Museum and Cultural Center. Together, we also wrote chapters to include major road construction projects, such as High Street, Sywell Road, Dr. Robert Smith Sr. Metro Parkway, West County Line Road at Tougaloo College, Congress Street, West Street, and Fortification Street. Construction of the city's first convention center, the Jackson Convention Complex. Development projects such as Lowe's, the King Edward Hotel, the Stanford Light, the Electric Building, Jackson Square, the Merchant Center, and Union Station. The revitalization of the I-55 corridor to include Virginia College, CarMax, Fillmore Buick and GMC, Joe Ussery Chrysler Dodge, Canon Used Cars, J.D. Bowrider, Great Northern Tools, Comcast, and Twin Peaks Restaurant. Neighborhood development, including installation of traffic signals at Highway 49 and John F. Kennedy Boulevard, Nakoma and Hanging Moss Road, and Bailey Avenue and Eminence Road as well. Drainage improvement projects to include Hanging Moss Creek, White Oak Creek, Town Creek, Eubanks Creek, Lynch Creek, and Caney Creek. And new playground equipment in public parks throughout the city. Creation of the city's Equal Business Opportunity Program to increase the number of minority businesses doing business with the city. Public safety initiatives such as the construction of 2 new fire stations, the purchase of new fire trucks, patrol cars, and advanced technology. You know, together we have written these and many other chapters in the story of our city, but the end is yet to be written. I stand before you today as a public servant who has dedicated over 4 decades to using whatever skills, whatever knowledge, whatever wisdom and experience God has allowed me to gain to do my part in working to make the lives of others better. I am seeking the office of mayor so that we can continue to write our city's story over the next 3 years. It will be a story of great achievement that all of our citizens can be proud of. And we can do it with experience we can trust. Again, I ask for your prayers, your support, and your vote on April 8th. Thank you so much, and may God bless our great city.
Going to take some questions. Scott.
Mr. Mayor, obviously the question that was going to be the most obvious one, I might as well put it out there now. If voters have said no in 2 previous elections to you, why should they consider you again for this time around?
Well, Scott, if you're keeping score, they said no twice, but they said yes 3 times.
What do you think is the most compelling argument then for electing you to this office?
Well, I really think at this critical point in the history of our city, we need experience. We need experience that we can trust. I'm so pleased that the voters passed the 1% sales tax, local option sales tax, but that's going to create millions of dollars coming into our treasury to fix potholes in streets and our water and sewer lines and drainage. and you simply need someone with the experience to make sure that that money is properly spent, that's effectively spent, and that all of the things that voters expect out of that money actually come to fruition.
You mentioned water and sewer. I mean, what are some other goals you have should you win this election?
Well, water and sewer is definitely critical, but I think we also need to make sure that our streets are properly paved, our drainage ditches are cleaned out. These are infrastructure issues, but that's been one of our problems here in the city. I mean, we've been able to do a lot of things. We've been able to feed the elderly. We've had summer jobs programs for our children. We've created the Jobs for Jacksonian program. We've done a number of things, but the infrastructure has really been a problem. And so now with this money that we have from coming in from the sales tax, we will have money available to do those kinds of things in terms of infrastructure. I spent about 30 years working throughout the state of Mississippi as a planner, focusing primarily on infrastructure issues. So not only do I have the experience here in the city of Jackson, but I have the experience working with these kind of problems throughout the state of Mississippi.
Obviously, the infrastructure is a big problem here, but another huge problem is the violence in the city. If you're elected as mayor, what are some of the safety initiatives that you're going to provide? Well,
one of the things that we have to do is that we definitely have to get a handle on violence. One of the things that we were focusing on is an initiative called Cities United. That's an initiative that was in the U.S. Conference of Mayors that brought together mayors from throughout the country. Probably the ones that are known to us are the mayor of Philadelphia, the mayor of New Orleans, the mayor of Memphis, to talk about how we can stop crime, particularly crime among young African-American males. And this is an issue that I want to continue to pursue. It's something that needs to happen. My brother's keeper, the initiative by the president, that fits right into that, and certainly we would embrace that and try to make sure we get the resources that are going to be required to do that. Another thing that we have to look at is the reentry of offenders back into our society. We need to make sure that we have the kind of support system in place so that they won't go back into criminal life, so they won't stick us up again or do whatever kind of criminal activity that got them in trouble in the first place. I don't think we've paid enough attention to that. Another thing that I think is important, and certainly you get in trouble at the local level talking about this, but the expansion of Medicare. I mean, obviously, we have our city is 30% impoverished, over 30%. We're talking at the same time about health care corridors and all of that. We need to make sure that the tools are in place, the incentives are in place here in the city of Jackson to make sure that our people are properly treated from a health standpoint. And that's something to do. Now, that's out of my bailiwick, but certainly I would use the bully pulpit of the mayor's office to advocate for those kind of issues.
You expect this to be an expensive campaign?
Well, I expect it to be quick. And, I don't know. We're hitting the ground running, and we're going to make sure that we collect the resources we need to collect to get the word out, to get the message out to the people. But expense gets to be relative. I can recall one election I was outspent by my opponents 4 and 5 times, and I still won. So it's a relative thing. I just thank these people behind me and all of the other supporters that we have in the city of Jackson, because that's what's count. People say that money is the mother milk of politics. I think friends and supporters are the mother milk of politics, and I thank them really
You said no 2 times. You said yes 3 times. Illuminate me to remind me of what those 3 times are.
1997, 2001, and 2009. By the way, 2009 was 85% of the vote, if you go with numbers. But the fact of the matter is that every election stands on its own bottom. I mean, there are variables at play in this election that were not at play in other elections, and so it's kind of, I think it might grab great headlines to count, but I think ultimately you're going to have to sort of deal with where you are, and that's what we're going to do.
Some may say that Ferris Street might have been a little bit of your undoing. Where's Ferris Street maybe in the future plans?
Well, I've always said that Ferris Street is a very important part of the development of this city. We started that process when I was in office previously. We had a developer. That developer, when I left office, was let go. A new developer was brought in. The recession hit, and that developer has run across rough times. We're still going to focus on Ferry Street. The good news is, and a good example is where we're standing here. When I came into office in 1997, this building was in disrepair. The interior was bad. The exterior was bad. There's no parking lot out here. We've been able to refurbish this building. We're getting ready to have a new entry coming off of Ferry Street, extending Jesse Mosley Drive. That's on the planning stage. And so we have not forgotten Ferry Street. It's just that, and people have a tendency to try to define Ferry Street by the entertainment district. But Ferry Street is much, much larger than that. And there are a lot of activities planned for this area. Mount Helm Church and others are looking at housing development. And so we're confident that Ferry Street will come into its own within this 3-year period. Any more questions?
What's your address there? What's your address?
What's my address? Where do I live?
Yeah.
I live at 1141 Hallmark Drive. Been living there at 39206. I've been living there since 1987, and so that's where I live. And I'm glad you asked that question, because I mean that's sort of a lot of the whisperings going on. I heard somebody tell me, well, I hear you got a big mansion up in Madison County. Well, not so. I don't even have a big mansion in Jackson. What I do have though, is a barn and 5 horses and a pond in Himes County, north of Clinton, Himes County. And I did all the building myself, so that probably confused people when I went to Lowe's and Home Depot and came out with all these 2x4s. They thought I was building my mansion. I wasn't building a mansion, building a barn. Okay? Okay.
When we were looking at the last few weeks, they've talked about the momentum gathered behind Mayor Shifley-Lamunda's campaign, behind his administration. What are some of the things that he was pushing for that you would like to continue going forward if elected?
Well, I chose this theme, the story of the city, because it really is the story of the city. It's not about one individual. It's not about me. It's not about my successor or predecessor. It's about the story. How do we continue the story? I'm pleased, quite frankly, that Mayor Lumumba was able to continue the story. Some of those things I had started previously, the sales tax, we started working on when I got in office in 2009, trying to tweak it. He took that ball across the line. We now have these resources that we can work with. I appreciate that, and we're going to work with that. But again, it's the story of the city. And at any particular point in time, all of us who lead this city have to take our responsibility and take our role seriously in telling that story and making that story a reality.
Additional questions?
All right. Thank you all again for coming.
I have his remarks.
End of the month.
Good.
We're walking. Still shooting. Mike. Smile. Well, not until we ask the question at the end when